Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dev Diary. Today we're continuing a journey to learn something new. So before we step outside of our comfort zone, remember to leave a like if you enjoyed today's video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Also make sure to turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. So last year I tried my hand at a cozy game. And long story short, it wasn't very cozy. Surprise surprise, someone who makes chaotic action games isn't good at keeping things cozy. So I set out to change this by making more cozy games. My follow-up was a cozy cat game that also doubles as a way to practice typing. The concept was simple and pretty cozy, but certain extra features made the ambitious project a technical nightmare. So perhaps third time's the charm with today's cozy idea. And this time, we're taking things nice and slow. We're going to try making a no-pressure simulator inspired by real-life experience. And it starts with this little feature where the player has to fit a bunch of art on a piece of paper. And before we get too far into things, just note that today's project was more of a proof of concept for a larger idea. More on this later. Now to the left, we've got some art sourced from doodles that I've created for previous Dev Diary videos, which will act as our temp art for the project. The numbers in the red bubble are how many of each image is required to complete this order. The player can click on any of the images, which will spawn a print. And when that left click is clicked, the mouse's position determines which type of print to spawn, which itself is an object with a type of variable attached to it. This variable both displays the proper image and is used later on in the project. Once a print has been chosen, it can then be placed in the rectangle on the right side, which represents our piece of paper. When the player is in this space, the print will be restricted to only being placeable within that rectangle area. This way we're not dealing with clipping issues and it prevents the player from breaking the system. Prints can be rotated when quote-unquote grabbed with the Q and E keys, and players can also click on any placed print to replace it, or simply delete it using right-click. And once the player has either placed all the necessary images onto the page or they run out of room, they can submit that page with the space bar. This will trigger a function that will do several things. First, it will update the counter for remaining prints required and reset the space so players can continue working. However, if the order has been completed and all prints have been added, a quote-unquote game over of sorts is triggered. This will calculate an operation price based on how many pages it took to complete the order. Also, any extra prints that were added over the process will increase that operation price. In other words, printing unnecessary prints will cost the player extra. And that was it for this session. I know it doesn't seem like much, but again, we're taking baby steps here, so a lot of testing is also occurring. For example, how gamemaker handles higher resolution graphics and precise collision masks. These were important to the project in order to allow players to be efficient with their placements. So it was nice to see that not only does this seem to be possible, but a simple place meeting check is all that we would need to make it work. And since the amount of objects that can be spawned is very limited, we can get away with the use of things like precise collision masks without much downside. Though there are still some kinks to work out. For example, rotations ignore the limitations of the page and can lead to some weird interactivity between prints. And speaking of prints, they need much larger margins to maintain at least some realistic space between images. Because if you haven't been able to figure it out yet, this is meant to simulate prep for sticker prints and is inspired by my time working in the art department of a print shop. The idea for this feature is players are meant to take orders for stickers and set up their pages accordingly, using their space as efficiently as possible to save money. This is why the player is charged extra for unnecessary additions. And this portion is just a smaller part of a larger idea, which is basically run a simple virtual print shop. Orders come in, players print things, and so on. They then use the money to buy better equipment or some type of upgrades to incentivize the loop. I don't know, I haven't gotten that far. Okay, Future Keaton here. Either by fate or mere coincidence, while editing this video I've come across a game that does almost exactly what I was hoping to do with this project. It's called Sticky Business and it actually looks really cute. So it seems like this idea has been done before, which is great, but currently I still plan to continue because I think there are different areas that we can still provide emphasis to. So those are my ideas for a chill simulator that's cozy? Honestly, it's hard to say if this will remain a cozy game by the end of things, which is why we're taking things slow. But regardless, I would love to know what you think of this first step. Are we still cozy? Can we maintain the cozy? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy what I do here, supporting me on Patreon will help me keep doing it, and can also get you access to exclusive content and game downloads, and even early access to the weekly Dev Diary videos before they're released on YouTube. But with that said, brings us to the end of today's Dev Diary, so thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.